Cam and Anna, so great to be here with you today. Thanks for coming, Anna. It's awesome to meet you. I've been researching you, listening to you on some of the running and trail running podcasts, and it's just awesome to be here with you in person. We're recording this mid-October. Trail running, I think for both of you, especially you, Anna, is like literally just ended, maybe even a race a few days ago. So we'd love to hear about that. And man, here it comes. Skimo coming at you soon, late November, early December. Races get going, and they're going to be here quickly. So thanks a ton for coming. And maybe to start, I'd just love to hear from both of you. What's going on? Like, what does a pro athlete do in this time period? Are you resting? Are you running? Are you lifting? I just got out of the weight room. I got to say, I've been inspired by the one and only Cam Smith here, hearing about all his training, all the strength and explosivity work. I've been getting back at it, Cam, and it feels good. So, Anna, you first. What are you doing these days? And then Cam, I'd love to hear from you too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is my first schema-oriented podcast that's not about running or riding bikes. So it's an exciting day for me. Um, yeah, I mean, as you just mentioned, my season just wrapped up. I raced this past weekend at the Golden Trail World Series final, which is actually a 2-event weekend. So we run like a shorter prologue race that's kind of just like this weird interval start style event that was like 4.5 miles long. So you're just out in the woods by yourself. It's just super, super short and fast. And then another, like the main race, the second day, which is like a 14-mile race that was just super verty, 6,000 feet up, 6,000 feet down. This was in Italy, so I'm also coming off of just traveling back from that overseas. So I am now just turning the page to really think about Skimo, but I'm also sort of in recovery mode at the moment, trying to make sure I don't get sick or anything. So
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Travis. I got a couple week jump start on Anna because I just raced world championships and I didn't have anything after that. So I've been home for almost 3 weeks and thinking of it as turning from speed to strength. The running season was all about getting faster and holding fast paces on flats and uphills. And now I'm kind of taking that speed and turnover that's faster than you need once you put skis on and turning it into Skimo strength. So a lot of running uphill with poles, a lot of gym time, a little bit of roller skiing begrudgingly for the first time this fall. That's not normally part of my program, but trying it out. It's been more fun than I thought it would be. And yeah, just moving a little bit slower and a little bit heavier with getting in the gym, going uphill, trying to get my arms in shape. And yeah, just really dialing in on the gym program. And I didn't take too much of a break post Worlds, but I'll take one coming up. And I just kind of wanted to get the ball rolling on more schema style training. And then actually next week I'll take a bit of downtime.
Good for you guys. Most of this conversation, I'd really love, the two of you've been super active in the trail running circuit this year. I'd love to just kind of hear season recap from both of you. But first, Anna, for the viewers who aren't familiar, what should we know about you and your backstory? You've done a lot. I mean, you sort of, in terms of a multi-sport athlete, you remind me of me and Cam and a lot of people who, running, biking, skiing, like all these things are great. I think most of your, sort of international performances, especially, have been running and in trail running and track running, but you've done other things too, which I think is awesome. So tell us a bit about that background, and I'd love especially to hear about in one of your other interviews, you talked about a key point where a coach really believed in you, and it almost put a tear in my eye as a coach and a parent. Like, you had gone to Brown, you were there for, I don't know, a year and a half. You realized it wasn't that good of a fit, and you were figuring out what's next. And like, along came a coach who remembered you and believed in you, and just turned that page, and it's led to some great stuff. So go ahead. What should we know about your background?
yeah, so I grew up in Jackson, Wyoming, so kind of had access to lots of sports right out the door, which I was very fortunate to have. And my parents are both really active people, so I grew up like doing all kinds of stuff. And running was not even really on my radar until I like got into school and was like, yeah, I guess middle school was sort of when it started, but at that point it was just like for fun and to make friends and because my parents thought I should go do cross country in the fall. But I like immediately fell in love with it. But at this point I was like downhill ski racing and I was like pretty sure that that was what I wanted to do with my life. I was like really motivated and really into it.
Mm,
And then like yeah, that all kind of morphed as I got older. So then in high school, I realized that I was kind of more of an endurance athlete and I'd had some success running and I'd also grown up like Nordic skiing on the side, and my sister was Nordic racing. And so then I was like, okay, maybe I should switch. Like downhill is fun and I love it, but I also kind of was realizing that I wasn't really built for that in the long run. And I just wanted to downhill ski for fun. So then I switched over to Nordic, started doing that. Kind of got into biking a little bit. Didn't do any racing or anything until the last couple of years. But yeah, I've done a lot of dabbling in just various different sports. And I've been professional now with Brooks for 2 years, going on three. And I'm really fortunate for the support from Brooks just because they've been super supportive of me exploring all of these things, like gotten into gravel racing, obviously now starting to get into the skimo racing. So I've just been able to like really explore whatever's exciting me in that moment. And yeah, sports have kind of like come and gone through my life, but I feel like I've just kind of remained in touch with all of them. And I like to just be able to explore and like see through that curiosity.
Travis,
excellent.
Anna's hiding a few things in that answer that I'd like to circle back to. Of you got into Nordic, you had some success running. Can you give us some more details of what that meant, please, with a little less humility?
Sure, I can. So in high school, I won Nordic Nationals in the 10K Classic. And at this point, I had committed to run at Brown, but it was like, oh no, should I ski in college? And that was kind of a big turning point for me when I decided, no, I really want to run. But I kind of continued to stay in touch with Nordic a bit, like coaching and just skiing on the side as training in the winters. And then that following spring, I also won Brooks PR Invitational in the mile and was like, yeah, had some pretty fast times coming out of high school for track races. And so that kind of confirmed my decision that I was going to run in college. And then, like you mentioned, I went to Brown, but I got hurt like 2 weeks in my freshman year. And I kind of like went through this very low period of like, I like actually was not an athlete for 2 years. I didn't do anything. And then I transferred to University of Washington, turned the whole thing around, ultimately like had a decently successful college career. But I feel like I don't know. I don't really think I hit my stride. Like I had a great time in high school, and then I like college was a struggle for me, and then I kind of have come back to like feeling like I really hit my stride as a professional.
Yeah, collegiate running can be tough. It can be a lot of pressure. It can sometimes the interpersonal dynamics and on teams are challenging. It can be a lot of running, especially for someone who maybe a multi-sport mix is better. Usually that's not really built into the programming. And what about so you had that Brown injury and then remind me, you reached back out to a coach who had recruited you years ago and she remembered you and you kind of brought you back. Was that the Washington team? And did that make a difference for you having that coach remember you, believe in you, help you want to get going again?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a super pivotal time for me. Like I had like I said, I went to Brown for like a year and a half and then I ended up taking some time off from school because I was just like down bad. Like I was not doing well physically, like emotionally I was just like really struggling. It was super hard to be like navigating doctors and like trying to heal this injury when I was like away from my family for the first time. I was like a college freshman and sophomore and I honestly just had like a lot of growing up to do. So I was kind of like the lowest low I had been in like up to that point in my life. And I was just like thinking, man, like how would any college coach take me now after like not running or being an athlete for like almost 2 years with this injury? And I had thought like there's one person that I could call, and it was Marisa Powell, who was the head coach at Oregon, and she had like recently gotten the women's triple, winning like the cross country national title, the indoor national title, and the outdoor national titles for her team. And
Mm,
she had recruited me to Oregon in high school. And then while I was at Brown struggling, she ended up moving up to University of Washington. And I had like really connected with her in high school. And so I like entered the transfer portal and I literally made one phone call to her and she said, "Hey, like I remember who you are. there's still potential here. Like, I know how to help you, and we have the resources to help you, and I believe in you. And she literally asked me to transfer in 10 days and like show up for spring quarter. Um, and I did. And it was just kind of like a total leap of faith. Like, it was a huge change. It was like super last minute. But I just had a really good feeling about like, somebody who just like puts their confidence in you and just says, I think you can do this. I think we can do this together. That was just really like pivotal for me to have that opportunity.
Thanks for sharing that. Go, Coach Powell. We all need people to believe in us. And it reminds me, like when we have the chance to believe in other people, it can make a difference. You never know. You guys, as pro athletes who are, visible to kids and teenagers, like man, little things you do, they make a difference. So keep doing it. All right, on to the season. Tell us about
That's so true.
trail running season, both you guys.
Cam, you go first.
I was just about to push it back to you if I wanted to hear about the 2025 in review, but specifically what you were planning to start this year and like what you were circling and targeting at the beginning of the year. And I want to talk about how that kind of all came together because it was really interesting. You like made some changes in the spring, did some different events, took on some really tough doubles and had a plan for the fall. And I want to hear how all that came together. But if you could take a pause at Broken Arrow, that would be great. So tell me all about 2025. What were you thinking before? And then recap it up to Broken Arrow, please.
All right. Hopefully I like can remember all of this. It feels like it's been such a long I'm gonna do my best. But let's see. So we're gonna start at the beginning of 2025. It's winter. I'm actually living in California, and so I'm not skiing. I spent some time in Jackson back with my family here and there, but for the most part, I was like training in the Bay Area. So I was running a lot and riding my bike a lot, which was new for me in the winter. And then I got really curious, like, oh, I want to do a bike race. So I raced at Huffmaster, which is part of the Grasshopper Race series. It was like, I think 90 miles, like part pavement, part road. And somehow managed to get myself on a podium standing next to Kate Courtney, which was just like the most insane experience of my life. She beat me by
So
like
cool.
30 minutes race,
So
but
cool.
there was no one else there. So, one of my larger claim to fame. She's just been like a sport idol for me for the longest time. So that was a really fun start to the year. And also just something that like threw me so far out of my comfort zone. And I was like, man, I want to do more stuff like this year. Like, I want 2025 to be the year of doing sendy things. So then fast forward to May. I guess I raced Gorge Waterfalls in April. That was kind of a rust buster. Then I did Zagama, which I've really wanted to do for a long time, which most people have probably heard of it, but it's a massive mountain marathon. And I say massive just because of the number of spectators that show up to this event. It's like the most wild thing I've ever seen. It was like running, but you're in a Tour de France stage. And there's like people just like six deep on both sides, like parting for you as you run through them, like just ear splitting noise of people screaming for you. It was just like the coolest experience. But that was in May. It was the longest running race I'd ever done. Took me almost 5 hours. So it's kind of like bordering on ultra territory. And I'm very much a sub ultra girl at this point. Um, and then I showed up to the US Mountain Running Championships for the classic race, which was the qualifier for making the US team for Worlds a week later in New Hampshire. So I did this like crazy race that absolutely destroyed my legs in Spain and then showed up and was like, it's fine. I'm just gonna like, I'll try and make the team, but if I don't make the team, it's okay because then the qualifier for the vertical race for Worlds was at Broken Arrow like 3 weeks later. And so I was kind of shooting for that one. I thought Broken Arrow was definitely gonna be my better chance to make the US team. With like Worlds kind of was the main goal of my year. Like that was the biggest thing I wanted to make happen. But I showed up at the classic race in New Hampshire and was like, all right, time to give this a go. My legs are still feeling horrible. And then somehow in the middle of that race, I just felt absolutely amazing, turned on the jets and had like one of the craziest race experiences I've ever had, and took the win there. So it was my first like trail US title. And it was really special because I was totally not expecting it. Um, and now we're
Congrats.
at Broken Arrow, so I'm gonna pause for Cam to jump in.
So, well, thanks. Yeah. Um, but pause like Tuesday after Broken Arrow. Pause at TrailCon, please, if you wouldn't
Okay.
mind.
Okay, so then show up at Broken Arrow. I was super jazzed. It was really cool to already like have made a world's team and not have any pressure on Broken Arrow. It was like this is just a super fun weekend. It's another awesome opportunity, but like whatever happens is great. And that's just kind of where I raised my best from, like with that kind of mental state coming in. So yeah, they cut the course in half, which was crazy. So the vertical race ended up being like 27 minutes for me, which was really short and super fun. And got the win in that one as well, made the US team again. That was sick. And then I raced the 23K as well, which was part of the Golden Trail series. And it was just an epic weekend. And then we went to TrailCon.
Thanks. Perfect. Thanks for the setup. I mean, what an awesome, yeah, start to the season and identifying worlds as a goal and making both teams. And um, that's kind of where our summers intersected, right? So, Travis, since you did ask about my summer, if I was on a similar track, but I showed up to Sunapee without having run a 5 hour mountain marathon the week before on the other side of the Atlantic, which probably made me a little bit fresher, but hard to say because Anna won and I did not. But we had like the same exact sort of strategy of like I was also circling the vertical of this is going to be my better chance to have a big result or help the team, but how much of a fool would I feel like if I went to Broken Arrow and had one bad day or got sick and then missed out? So I thought that I'd go to the classic qualifier in New Hampshire, and if it worked out, it would be amazing. And that wasn't really part of the plan. Like more the thought was I'll see where I'm at and see where I'm at on the climbs, and if I have a poor race, then it'll be motivating to then try to turn it around a few weeks later. But finished fourth that day in a classic Northeast race through 2 inches of rain over rocks, puddles, creeks, everything that they could throw at us over there, and the top four qualified. So I just snuck onto the
Nice.
team there, and then yeah, got to Broken Arrow and finished third on another team of super strong guys. So then also qualified for both the classic and vertical at Worlds, which we'll circle back to later. But then I'm at Broken Arrow, and I had been talking with my wife Lynn all spring, and we're talking about Skimo and relay racing, and it's like, oh, like what can we do to make the team stronger for next year? And like, well, I could be good to kind of add some talented athletes, right? Like get some more talented skiers, mountain athletes in the mix and just make the team stronger. That makes everything better. And she was like, well, who would you ask if you could? And I was like, well, Jessie Diggins, but she's busy. She's like, okay, who else? I'm like, well, there's this girl, Anna Gibson, that's like an amazing uphill runner, and she like has all these results, yeah, from trail racing, and she grew up in Jackson, so I'm sure she's a great skier. I didn't even know she was a Nordic high school national champion. So
Oh wow.
like Anna and I just intersected in trail races, yeah, a lot the last few years because we're both kind of on the same Sub Ultra track and like a lot of the same events. And she was like, well, why don't you talk to her? And I said, no, like surely she's thought of this, and there's a reason that she hasn't reached out. Like she's busy with other things. Like she has this whole other career track running with Brooks and all this. And she's like, well, why don't you just talk to her at Sunapee? And I'm like, fine, fine, fine. And then Sunapee comes and goes, and I didn't really get the chance. I was focused on racing. It wasn't really a weather weekend where you wanted to just hang out outside and chat with your friends for hours and hours. So I just didn't really get the chance. And I get home, and on Tuesday, Lynn's like, so how'd the talk with Anna go? I'm like, oh, I actually didn't get the chance. She's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not taking this seriously? And I'm like, oh, like I'll chat with her at Broken Arrow. And she's like, text her, call her right now. I'm like, no, no, I'll talk to her at Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow comes and goes, but then fortunately we're both hanging around for the few days after. And then let's connect back to where our summers intersect, which is the conversation we had post Broken Arrow. So Anna, what's your recap of how that conversation went?
um I love this. This is hilarious. I feel like I'm being exposed right now. But um, my recollection of this conversation is that you had actually come up to me at Broken Arrow and you said, "Hey, I want to chat with you about Skimo." And
Right,
so
right.
it was already in the back of my mind. We like didn't get the chance to chat right then. So it was like days had gone by. And then you came up to me again and you were like, "Hey, like we're gonna have that conversation about Skimo." And the first thing you said was, "You can tell me right now if the answer is no, and I will never ask you about this again. I will leave you alone. But is if the answer is not no, I think you should do Skimo." And I just thought it was funny. I guess I should also go back. Like, we should go back a couple of years when I first met you, Cam. It was at the Rut up in Montana, and we were both running for DNFit. Obviously, you still are. But I was told by, the other DNFit people, they're like, you got to meet Cam Smith. He's awesome, absolute legend. Um, Total multi-sport athlete, like such a badass. And so I showed up at the Rut just like, all right, where's this Cam Smith guy? And like met you immediately. You're so welcoming, so nice. And like, I will say like the Skimo seed has been like in my head for so long. And the answer has never been like firmly no. It's just always been like, yeah, at some point in the future, like I'll probably do it. Like I'm just going to. So it's honestly like kind of felt inevitable. So when you came up to me in June after Broken Arrow, I was like, yeah, why not? Like give me the rundown. What's the hard sell? And I think you just caught me at like a really good moment where I was like I had prefaced earlier, I kind of started my year off knowing it was like the year of exploration, the year of experiments. Like I wanted to race my bike. I wanted to do longer running races. I wanted to do things that really challenged me. I wanted to do doubles back to back of things that like everyone else would be like, ah, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? And so to be like, hey, you want to add another sport to the mix? Like, let's get this going. I kind of was just like, why the heck not? Like, why not now? Why, like, what am I waiting for? If this is going to happen eventually, I might as well just do it. Um, yeah. So I'm really glad that the conversation was started. Thank you. And
Heck
thank you,
yeah.
Lynn.
Yeah. Shout out to Lynn for, oh gosh, we can just sit here and list all the things to shout out for Lynn. But shout out to Lynn for keeping on me about taking that initiative. Because yeah, we're excited to have Anna on the team. So she was named a discretionary selection to our development team, but that gives Anna the opportunity to race her way to more opportunities. And basically, that sell that I gave to Anna was like I think a lot of our listeners know, but just to recap, folks, if they don't, is we're right on the bubble for Olympic qualification, and that's going to come down to that first World Cup in December and just how we perform there. And we'll have a selection camp 2 weeks before. And essentially, barring unforeseen circumstances, the top two finishers there will then, or top male and top female, will then be our relay team that we're sending into that World Cup to try to earn the quota spot for the team. And so we're just trying to add talented athletes, and we'll see where Anna's at when she gets on the snow. But yeah, we're really excited to have her in the mix for sure. So that's what I told her in that conversation, standing somewhere at the base area of Palisades, was like, hey, we have this golden opportunity right in front of us, and maybe it turns into the Olympics or maybe it doesn't, but let's just take this leap and like join our team at this exciting time and see what happens. And there's a future with the Olympics and there's a future without the Olympics. It's just an exciting thing to explore and have fun with, and just an awesome fit for the kind of athlete that Anna is. So here we are. But we wrapped up that conversation saying, like, okay, like I being me, is I really don't want this to affect your trail season, because like you're racing two events at Worlds and you're the double national champion. Like in a lot of ways, you're leading the team into Worlds, and one of the team leaders and one of the people that we're counting on to help the team have the best championships that we can. And you had some more races on the calendar before then, and I knew you were going to do Golden Trail, and I was like, don't let this like affect all the stuff that you already have planned. And I know that that's what was on your mind and your coach's mind too. So how did that next, let's see, 4 months go on a post Broken Arrow?
Yeah. I mean, I think I kind of just like got back to it and um kind of progressed with like the plan as it was, and tried to just like sprinkle in little hints of Skimo along the way, to make sure that I was getting prepared in case this all like actually worked out. Which like I would say as of right now, it's already working out. Like it's been great. But like I just wanted to prepare myself to be in a position to like actually try and help and like be a part of the team and everything. And yeah, just get to race this winter. But there was a lot of pieces that needed to come together. Like you said, just with like, making sure that my coach thought it was a smart idea, making sure that like my sponsors were okay with it because running is my full-time job, and it's like really important that I'm making sure that I'm doing everything right from their perspective. And a lot of like running contracts like say that you're not even allowed to ski, and so like mine fortunately I've navigated that well, but it's just definitely something that you have to like check in on when you start doing like a new thing. So yeah, just I wanted just to make sure that everything was like all in order. But at the same time was like, okay, like I need to focus on running. I need to make sure that I'm doing everything I need to do this season that I already had planned. And um, that was a couple bike races that I had signed up for. So I raced Steamboat Gravel and Crusher and the Tusher. Just more opportunities to like really challenge myself. And it was super fun. I definitely was challenged by those, but it was also nice. I took a little bit of like a break from trail training in the middle of my season, which I think like really helped the longevity of getting me up until now, like mid-October, and like still feeling healthy and feeling strong. And then I got back to racing some trail stuff. Um, let's see, I'm trying to think of what was next. Oh, I think I raced the Rendezvous Hill Climb in Jackson in my backyard, which was the first trail event I ever did back in high school. So sort of just a sentimental, really fun kind of community experience. And then I went over to Sears and All. I raced there, and then the World Championships and the Golden Trail final. So it kind of just like went by in a blur, but just checking off like one race after another. Um, and yeah, it all went really well. I'm really, really, really happy with the season. Like it was honestly better than I could have ever like imagined. If I had told you like best case scenario, I don't even think that I would have like described what actually ended up happening. Like it ended up so good. So
Way
yeah.
to go.
Awesome. And yeah, shout out to Brooks for their like ability to work with you too, because it would be so easy for a company to say like, no, like you are like an athlete and an asset on their team and have this track that you're on and the track that's more visible in the running space, and this is what we want you to do. Like it'd be easy for them to sort of pigeonhole you, but it seems like they work with you and the unique person that you are, and they know that this is what makes you happy and arguably perform at your best because you're doing all these other things. So that's awesome that, yeah, you have such a great relationship with them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so fortunate. Like that could have gone a very different direction. I mean, all of these things could have like not panned out for me just because, I've chosen to like really pursue running and like put a lot of energy into it. And so if Brooks had said no, like we would prefer that you didn't, I think that I probably would have honored that. And I'm really grateful that like they've never put me in a position to feel like they know better than me, or like they, you know, I just feel like they wholeheartedly like truly support what I want to do. And if like I think it's a good idea and my coach thinks it's a good idea, and I see value in it, then like they just get excited about it too. And it's really, really awesome. So I'm very fortunate for that.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's great.
So that's that's a great explainer of like, yeah, we had the whole running season, we had the idea of Skimo, and you said you added a little Skimo here and there in ways that didn't mess up your, or not mess up, but affect your running goals and the track that you were on there. Let's talk about those little tidbits. Mainly, you came to a weekend long camp in Utah in Big Cottonwood, and or I guess all over the Cottonwoods. And then our week at the Stelvio before heading down to Spain. So let's talk about those weekends a little bit. And I'll share from my perspective how the first weekend in Utah was going to, and then I want to hear about your idea. So or your perspective. So we were talking about like, oh, like, can you make it to this camp, that camp? And you had other races, other things going on. And the first opportunity you had to come meet the team was this previously scheduled weekend long camp in Utah, where we were gonna just do some transitions on dry ground, some hill bounding workouts. Some people were gonna race a Cirque Series event, and we were all on our way there. And I had some travel delays with someone that I was gonna travel with, and plans changed and this and that. Basically, I ended up being a few hours late, and I was like, oh no, now Anna's gonna like go meet the team by herself, all this big scary skimo team and this whole new sport, and she's not gonna have the familiar face in me to ease the transition. And then I got there a few hours into the camp, and it was clear that that was not necessary for me to be there. So can you talk about how that weekend went for you, and just kind of meeting the team, and how that process has been?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I will say it was like pretty anxiety inducing at first. Like the thought of just showing up in this environment with like the US national team, knowing very few people, um, like especially without you there, Cam, it was like, man, like I'm such a noob. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm gonna embarrass myself so much. Like I'm probably not doing the transitions right because I was like totally fumbling my way through this. Like I've been skiing my entire life, but I've not done Skimo training at all. And I like had no idea what I was doing. So I was totally faking it. Like I was like, man, is my gear all right? Like I probably don't have the right gear. Like my poles weren't dialed. Like I was so stressed about all these little factors. Like don't have the race suit. Like how am I supposed to do transitions without the race suit? Like there's all these things that I was just so worried about. Um, but that was kind of part of like what I had signed myself up for. And I was like, yeah, like it is a weird thing to be a professional and to be like a high level athlete, but to sign yourself up for something that you feel like an absolute noob doing. Like I know I can ski, but this whole summer version of Skimo training camp was like a really big stretch for me, and just felt really uncomfortable. But then I immediately showed up and I met Sarah Cookler and Oscar Angeloni in the parking lot, and I was like, these people are wonderful. I just immediately had such a good first impression of both of them, and then the team starts showing up. It was all the junior athletes, and they were all super nice, and just like it was such good vibes right from the get go. So then by the time Cam showed up a few hours later, I was already like feeling great. I was like, this is all gonna be fine. Like I can make such a fool of myself doing transitions. That's whatever. Like these people are awesome, and no one's judging me. Like I felt super welcomed.
Yeah, it was hilarious to show up to, because I'm like, oh, like I'll like walk up to the group, hey everyone, like, oh hey Anna, how's it going? And they were like already having side conversations with all the other like juniors on the team. They're like, oh, I guess she's part of the group now. This is all good. So yeah, it was fun to watch that unfold over that weekend, and then yeah, kind of get the whole transition practice as a group going, because that's, as we've talked about, like a big component to the sprint and relay racing, and then something that is like one of the only areas that you don't really have a background in, but you've been putting the work in, obviously, and that was kind of where we were all going to see like um or like you were going to see like, oh, how much has the living room practice paid off. And yeah, it was cool to yeah get feedback from the coaches and do it all as a group. And spoiler for the listeners, Anna is a quick learner, and yeah, I was picking up on all the little intricacies of those movements pretty well. But yeah, definitely got to get on snow this fall, and we'll talk about the fall plans a little bit to get that extra bit of yeah how things get more weird, more awkward in a race situation on snow. But anyway, that was the Utah camp, and we had a great time. A few weeks later, we're heading to Italy, and then Spain, and then for you back to Italy to do a team training camp up on the Stelvio and at San Martino. You and I were going to use that as a tool to get over our jet lag, while also spending time with the team, working on some things with the team before taking that theoretically easy flight down to Spain, which didn't end up being the easiest day. But we had some really good conversations. Sorry if I hadn't said this explicitly. This is like the week before World Championships when we're heading down to Spain. So Anna and I kind of had the same sort of September plan with that. We were going to go to the team camp, go through all that with the group, spend time together, all those things that I just said, and then travel down. And we had some really good conversations while we were training up at that camp because there were a few days that the team was going roller skiing or doing some like more specific hill bounding workouts with poles, and Anna and I were focused on the running world championships the next week. So we like had a few different workouts, and so that ended up meaning the two of us took a few runs, just the two of us, while everyone else was doing their more ski oriented training. And we had some really good conversations about what this all meant and how this all fits into the bigger picture and kind of the journey that we're on, and just how exciting it is to be where we are and be doing what we're doing. So Anna, can you recap some of those conversations we had on those runs at the Stelvio and hanging around in San Martino?
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think I can remember like especially one conversation. We were like up high in the Dolomites. We'd just gone on this big mountain run. That was not very many miles, but was like a lot of vert and just like very rugged terrain. Just one of the most stunning runs I've honestly ever been on. And Cam and I went and added a little bit of mileage on while the rest of the team like headed back down. And um, we just were having a conversation just in this like gorgeous, incredible place, just about how like this is the point. Like it doesn't even matter what ends up happening with this. Like it doesn't matter if like ultimately I just like completely suck and I like I don't do well at the November selection races and don't get to race at the first World Cup. Like, it doesn't matter if like the US team doesn't make the Olympics. Like, obviously that's the goal and that's what everyone is thinking about. But like, this is the point. Like, the point is to be here having these incredible experiences as a team, like really supporting each other. Um, and I think I was just like having this kind of like epiphany moment where I had been like honestly a little bit stressed about like going to this Skimo training camp the week before the World Championships for running, which like I've been working to go to the Worlds for trail for like so long. And it felt like kind of a big risk to show up to a training camp and like go skiing when I haven't been skiing since last spring. And to spend time with all these people who like I've literally only spent 3 days with in Utah prior to this experience. And now suddenly like we're on a glacier in Italy like training together for a week and then going to the Dolomites. It felt like a really big kind of sendy thing to do. But in that moment, like up on this run with Cam, we were just both like, no, like we're exactly where we need to be. Like we're just doing it right. Like if this is making you happy and this is fun and this is like just feels good, like this is it. This is the whole point. And I think like that's just where I've come to with this whole thing. Like, that's exactly why I'm doing this. Like, I think the sell was, well, it's the Olympics this winter and the US team has a chance of making it. Like maybe you can help contribute. But ultimately now I'm like, that's not even like why I'm doing this. Like that's obviously what we're all training for and thinking about. But it's just about like the experiences along the way and like, yeah, trying a new challenge, signing up for things that are scary, and yeah, just having a good time with it.
I love what you guys are saying. And I just want the listeners to know that this is unique and it's magical for professional athletes in the midst of big goals and heavy training to have that perspective and have that moment. This right here, this process that we're in, this is the point. That's awesome. And that's something I think for any athlete to maintain and to try to remember, because we can get overwhelmed. You can feel all the pressure, just like you said, on a new situation. That's all hard, but to be able to turn that and just have that presence, that's the magic. And that is like, that's why you guys are great, because you can remember that and find the power in that. Like I think the best athletes, they do that. So way to go. Keep it going. Sorry to interrupt.
No, no, I mean I totally agree. And like I think what I've realized as I've kind of come to that realization more and more over the last like year or two is just that like feeling like that is also what creates results for me. Like
Mm.
that might not be true for every athlete, but for me, like feeling like I'm just enjoying myself and like the results don't even matter, that like the process is what's important and just exploring and having fun and doing things with like your people, that's the point. Like then I show up at the world championships and like had this very like atypical approach into it, but then had the best race of my life because I was just like on cloud nine, already having a great time. I mean, Cam and I were literally like, wow, this trip's already been worth it. Like, wow, Europe is so fun. This was all so great. And then we show up at Worlds and it's like, wow, like how can this even get any better? And it just does because you're like loose, you're relaxed, you're just having fun. And I
Yes.
think like, I mean, maybe Cam, you can speak to your experience at Worlds, but I feel like in hindsight now, I can see that I did exactly what I should have been doing. Like that training camp with the Skimo team was like the absolute best way that I could have possibly gone into Worlds for me this year. It just was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
Way to go.
totally. I so agree. I so agree, and I think you totally nailed it with like when we realized on that run, like, wait a second, this is the perfect prep because we had spent a week like just laughing with our teammates and eating the most amazing food in Italy and going on these runs up in the Alpine and just exploring and like we then had a couple days or a couple workouts where it's like, okay, like I'm actually gonna go run super fast loops around this like tiny lake to like yeah keep some focus like from my physical training on running, and then like after that hour of your week is done, then it was back to just like laughing with the teammates and yeah just making jokes and spending time in a new place and making new friends on the other side of the world. And it's like we were both just having such a good time and thinking about the the world championships like just enough. Like it was we were doing just enough to make sure we had our logistics in order, just enough to make sure we were doing the right training. And beyond that, we were just like having so much fun and on this big adventure and not thinking about it any more than that. And so then we show up to Worlds 4 days before the vertical, and that was like, yeah, the perfect window and amount of time to then like lock back in to that space. And like, yeah, just felt like I had so much like mental energy and reserve from being on this adventure and having fun that then when it was time to like flip the switch and like, all right, you're gonna race an uphill all out in 4 days, like not a lot of things to strategize and prepare. Like it was just enough time to then, yeah, get back with my teammates and talk about how we were gonna handle it and catch up with all those friends in that like totally different sphere of my life. And yeah, I just like felt so fresh and so excited and just like happy to be there. And it felt like it took a weight off, not in that I didn't care how my results were going to go. Like I cared deeply and really wanted to show up and have my best race of the year, but like I wanted it really, really, really badly, but I didn't need it. And that was like the perfect
Hmm.
space to be going into that race with, and then the subsequent classic race a few days later. Like I just felt so light and free, but not in like a detached way. Like I was still so excited to be racing. So it was yeah, just the perfect setup. And yeah, really, really happy with how it all shaped out.
I have total chills here listening to you guys because this is like a master class on world class mindset and what it takes to win. I mean, doing just enough, especially when it comes to running, having a really high goal that you really want, but holding it lightly and knowing that you don't need it. If it happens, it's great, but hey, you are who you are. And I think that's been your mindset throughout, Cam, regarding the Olympics and on. I think you're adopting that as well. I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome. And especially in running, often there can be so much pressure, so much specialization, so much miles per week, grinding away day after day, doing it alone, looking at that training log. And it can be a lot mentally, and for many people, especially in running, it leads to injury, and I know I've been there. I'm curious on, let's say it's a non-race week. If you look back, whatever, sometime this summer, like what is a usual? Maybe there's not a usual week, but could you describe? You take a week of training. How many runs? How many rides? How much lifting? Just on average, what does it look like for you?
I mean, yeah, it varies like pretty dramatically depending on like what week of the year we're looking at and where I am and what other sports I have access to for the most part. But generally I would say like this year I've been running anywhere from like 35 to 50 miles a week, which is probably significantly less than most of the women that I'm competing with in the trail
I love it.
space. Um, but I've always been kind of a low mileage person, but I think people see me and they think low mileage, but I would say I'm fairly like high volume when it comes to like
Hmm.
overall amount of training because I spend a lot of time on the bike in the summers and a lot of time skiing in the winters. And so, like, at least half of my hours per week are spent like doing other activities, like other aerobic training. So yeah, a lot of my like when I'm in very focused like running training season, like this whole last 6 months or so, like I'm running probably like 4 days a week, taking one day off, doing two bike rides, and then some of those running days, like I'll do um like I'll have a workout and then I'll do a bike double. And so it ends up being like a fair amount of hours, but I'm just spending some easy time on the bike in the evenings after doing some like pretty focused running training in the morning. Um, but yeah, it varies like pretty dramatically. And I think like something else that I've kind of like refined over the last couple of years is that when I'm like in full focused training for trail, I'm actually not in the gym at all. I like have kind of stopped lifting during this time of the year, which is really weird, I think. But I felt like I was just like kind of overdoing it. And it was just like this added thing that like when I'm doing all these other sports and also going to yoga, like and doing like very like diverse movement patterns on the trails, like I don't feel like I also need to spend more time in the gym. Like I can put that time towards other aerobic training instead. But I do like in the winters I spend a lot more time in the gym trying to kind of like make myself indestructible and get stronger, and just like make sure that I'm like putting in the time to like go through those movement patterns and like yeah, make sure I'm strong.
Great. Thank you. Let's say, again, on average, 2 bike rides a week, road, gravel, mountain, and are you doing, bike specific workouts or intervals? Are you simply riding by volume? Is it zone 2 training? Are you going by power, heart rate, feel? What does it look like for you currently?
Yeah, I mean, most of it, while I've been in like really focused running training, it's pretty much all been zone two, just like couple hours out riding, kind of whatever sounds fun. And then sometimes I'll have days where it's like my coach will put in my training log, like, you can add a little bit of extra effort if you want. Like it can be sort of more of like a moderate effort, or I can go do like a hard climb in the middle of the ride or something like that. But in the winter, as I was kind of like laying the foundation for all of this, I was on a program that I really liked, which was like to do like one running workout and one biking workout per week. They were on back to back days. So it was generally like running workout Tuesday, bike workout with intervals and sort of harder effort on Wednesday. And then the weekend, I would do like a similar thing, but like with like a long run and then a long ride back to back. And I think like that kind of like back to back thing for me, like doing these hard rides on dead legs, like after I was already tired, was just like so key to like kind of get to that like extra level of challenge. And just like it was okay that I was getting a little tired because I wasn't racing anytime soon. And I was really trying to like get fit on the bike. And I think it made me really strong. Like it was just this like foundation of like massive base that like really laid the stage for like all of the kind of more specific training that came afterwards.
Nice. Good for you. Thanks for sharing. This is great info for the audience. Cam, what about you? Just real briefly, like the average miles per week running for you throughout spring and summer. I don't think you're doing 90 miles a week. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
Do you even know what
definitely
it
not. Yeah.
is?
Yeah, my very highest weeks will be like I'll do 50 miles a week, 2 maybe 3 weeks in a summer. Other than that, it's yeah, somewhere in the 30s or 40s and yeah, biking a bunch, but it's been all mountain bike this year at least. I had a few years where I was playing around with more road and gravel biking coming back from the knee and shoulder surgeries, but then this year, now that I didn't have any injury limitations, all I wanted to do was be on the trail, so it was all 100% mountain bike, which was really fun. And yeah, as you know, Travis and Anna, you'll figure out one day is Crestview. It's just such a good place for it. And yeah, like we actually don't really have that many roads that are good for riding. Like the only roads are the roads in and out of town. And that's where all the traffic is because there's only one way in and out of town in the winter and two ways in and out of town in
Not the
the
best
summer.
road.
So yeah, not the best place to be a road or gravel cyclist, but there's 750 miles of rideable single track in Gunnison County, and yeah, all kinds of flavors of riding, and so yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying that. Sorry, that's a bit of a tangent. I started thinking about the mountain bike and looking out my window and thinking about
Yeah.
um yeah, sorry, my mind wandered. Yeah, totally. And in the summer I am in the gym a little bit, but I think if I was focused only on running, I'd probably end up with the same idea of Anna of it's not really helpful for my running training. Like I just it makes me feel so tired when I'm running on top of it. Like if I'm just in the gym and the running's kind of taking a back seat like it is this time of year or in the winter, then I feel like I'm getting a lot out of that strength training and progressing a lot. But in the summer, like if I'm trying to improve as a runner and improve in the gym concurrently, like they both really suffer. So I'm trying to do just enough in the gym that I can get to September, October and be able to do those exercises and train hard without just being like crippled by soreness. But yeah, I'm still kind of figuring out how much of what to do. I've ended up doing more like plyos and speed work in the gym in the summer, so more jumping around, really light weights, a little bit of sprinting around, box jumps and things like that that just yeah, keep me spry and quick, but not as much like fatiguing muscle damage from lifting heavy weights.
I was just gonna say, keyword that both of you have mentioned is fun, and including fun in the training is just so important. Like, yes, it'll be hard. Sometimes it's a grind, but fun equals sustainability, and sustainability equals progress.
For sure, and, yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I think another thing about the gym too for me is, like, I don't know, I kinda have a hard time, going into the gym on, like, a beautiful summer day where I'm like, I honestly just, like, kinda wanna spend my days, like, outside, I wanna be in the mountains, like, that's probably, like, kind of a I don't know. It's like a very idyllic view. I'm like, yeah, being an athlete, like you have to spend time in the gym. Like you have to do training that you don't want to do sometimes. But I have a harder time convincing myself to do those things. And I think like, yeah, just being guided enough by fun and enough by like the discipline that you need to put in is really important.
Excellent. So looking at Skimo here coming up, I guess two questions. First one, it sounds to me as in terms of World Cup and Olympics, Team USA, late November, you'll hold a training camp with, I guess, sort of in team qualification that'll determine exactly which athletes are doing which races at the, I believe it's December 6th and 7th World Cup in Utah. As we've discussed, that's very important to Olympic qualifications. So you guys, in addition to many of our previous guests and maybe other new athletes this year, will be in the mix there. That'll kind of determine, World Cups and Olympics and where it goes. And I'm curious, Anna, as you're exploring this with as just a great mindset of let's see what happens. Have you thought also, in addition to World Cup sort of stuff, do any of the marquee Skimo races, whether it's in Colorado or Wyoming or Canada, do any of these, I don't know, whatever, Power of Four or Grand Traverse or just any of these, various cup races? Have you thought about those? Do they sound fun to you? Is it just you're kind of taking it step by step, see what happens?
Um, they do sound really fun to me, yes. And I would say actually that's kind of where my Skimo curiosity began, like,
Mm.
knowing about the Grand Traverse years ago, was kind of my first, like, "Oh, that looks kind of fun, like, that sounds cool," um, kind of experience, and so, like, I'm starting right now with this mixed relay sprint stuff, but I feel like ultimately, like, yeah, I definitely wanna, like, kind of try out the different things that Skimo has to offer, both in and outside of the World Cup. And um, I've already gotten multiple messages from friends being like, "Hey, like, here you're doing Skimo, like, want to be my partner for this thing?" Which I think is so cool. Like, just to already have people like I don't know, kind of like throwing opportunities at me is really fun. And I'm like, all of those questions I've responded to with like, I have no idea what I'm doing this year. Like, I can't tell you anything about where this season is going to go or like what I'm going to be doing with Skimo in 3 years. Like, we're just taking it one month at a time, really. Like, I need to get to this selection race in November and like try and understand as best I can how that's all going to look, what's going to happen, like what I need to do. And yeah, then kind of just like go from there and see where the season plays out. But to answer your question, yes, I'm very curious, and would love to do the whole gamut of different types of racing.
Sweet.
If only there were 36 hours in a day and 20 months in a year to fit it all in. So many
True.
sports, so many events. It's just too much.
Yep. Well, that's why you have time. Keep going. You guys have already shown that you know how to navigate injuries and ups and downs, and hopefully we can all keep doing this in different ways for a long time. Can the qualifying event for Team USA, is there a date and location, or is it like we wait and see when and where it snows? Do you guys even know when that is?
Yeah, so we're not quite sure where we'll have like training camps in November, where normally we'd probably be in Europe and on glaciers that are a little more snowsure for that time of year. But yeah, with the Western US, you have to wait and see what natural snowfall does. But everything will be based probably somewhere in Big Cottonwood Canyon of Utah, because the World Cup's at Solitude, so that selection race will probably be at Solitude or maybe at Brighton, but hopefully one of the two. And it'll be that weekend, 2 weekends before. So I think the 20th and 21st, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, 2 weeks before there'll be some kind of race, and there's enough snowmaking at those resorts, and you need so little terrain to be able to host a sprint or mixed relay that they're pretty confident they'll be able to host it somewhere at one of those two resorts 2 weeks ahead of the World Cup.
Well, this will get out to listeners probably a week or two before that, so we've all got something to look forward to, something to follow. Either of you guys, any other final questions, comments, thoughts, things you want to share?
Anna, what's your, like, briefly, what's your October and November build up for these races look like? Because yeah, there's some other, or one more like work to this period, or one more trip that you have planned that I think is really interesting and actually is really a good insight into how this like adventurous lifestyle is actually really well thought out and clever in a way to build up to performance. So yeah, what's your October and November look like?
Um, yes, it is generally pretty planned out. I put a lot of thought into how all these crazy things go together. So from the outside, it probably looks really hectic, but I do a lot of planning and like trying to Tetris all these opportunities and things I want to do in a way that like really prioritizes like my overall health and overall performance. So this trip that you're talking about is that I'm going down part of the Grand Canyon on a raft trip early November. And at first I was like certain, and once I got the invitation to do this, that there was no way this was going to work with the Skimo plans. But then I thought a little bit more about it and like talked to a couple of people whose opinions I really value. And I think it's like really, really important that like I'm setting myself up mentally and physically for success, which includes taking a break. And Cam, you mentioned this earlier, kind of towards the beginning of this podcast, just about like how you're going to shut it down. And that might seem like counterproductive if you're looking at like, just these 2 months only. But if you look at the whole picture, it's like Cam and I have been racing since April, May. Like it has been a really long season. We've been pushing ourselves really hard. Like there isn't that much fitness to gain in 1 week of training, but there is a lot of exhaustion to gain from like never taking a break. And I don't know, just coming off of world championships and then like the Golden Trail final. I mean, I was just in Europe for a month. Like, I'm honestly cooked. Like, I'm so tired right now. And I am going to keep training for the next 2 weeks. And then I'm going to go down the Grand Canyon and I'm going to completely check out so that by the time I come back, like, at the end of that first week of November, it's like all systems go. I'm physically feeling super strong and rested and great. Like I'm emotionally ready for the intensity of like, yeah, trying to race well at this selection camp, and like be a helpful part of the team. And that if things all like play out, that like if I get to race this first World Cup race in November, that like her early December, that I'm like ready to go. Like I just want to be 100%. And I think that taking a break is really important. So I've scheduled that break in for myself because I'm one of those people who like if it's not scheduled, I will find ways to like add other things and like do an adventure here or there and like keep training. And I'm like, no, like I'm going down the Grand Canyon. Like I literally am shutting it down. Like I cannot focus on running, and I cannot focus on Skimo. I just need to like check out fully and just be like a regular person for that week.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like when it's time to train, you're training super hard, and then when it's time to rest, you're going somewhere that you cannot run, like ski or lift. You're gonna be in the bottom of the big ditch. So I just think it's awesome. Like you train hard and then you go so hard at resting that you're gonna be on like one of the coolest adventures someone can do. So yeah, I'm pumped for you to be able to do that. Thanks for sharing that insight. Travis, any closing thoughts?
No, I just love talking with both you guys. Again, appreciate your wisdom and perspective, and I think you're doing a great job. And just yeah, I mean, I wish when I was your age that I had more of that perspective in terms of like finding these other energy sources, finding the importance of rest. Anna, I think it's a great plan. Go to one of the most beautiful places, and yes, you won't be training, but you're going to be taking on incredible fuel from mother nature and from human connection, and that is just as important as the fitness and anything else. So way to go. I'm pumped pumped for both you guys. Thanks. Anna, what's the best place for people to find you online if they want to see what you're up to?
Ooh, best place is probably Instagram. It's just my name, but there's like an extra A on the end of Anna and an extra N on the end of Gibson. Like your finger just like got stuck to the keyboard. So, yeah, that's
Cool.
probably the best place. And yeah, always open to questions or comments there. So if anyone wants to send me a message or anything, that's the best way to get in touch with me and follow along.
Sweet. Cam's on there too. At Cam from CB. All right, you guys.
Gosh,
Well,
in 2025, there's no more excuses for being on mute in 2025, 5 years after we all figured this out. So sorry I just did that twice, but yeah. Thanks, Travis. Thank you guys both for your time. This was super fun to connect with both of you and just talk about the best sport in the world. And yeah, just such an exciting time of year with the change in seasons and everything exciting that's coming down the pipeline. So thank you guys both for yeah, connecting this morning.
Yeah, thank you both
Yeah.
so much. This was super fun.